In this GIMP video, I'll be demonstrating how to make a shiny, glassy looking button like the one shown here. I'll be using GIMP version 2.6.11. A shiny button is easy to create, and the techniques shown in this tutorial can be used for a variety of projects. I'm going to start by opening a new workspace. And I do that from the File menu, and I'll select New. And I'm going to select a width of 640 and a height of 400. And press OK. And this is a red background here, and I'd like it to be white. So I'm going to go over to the fill bucket and fill this with a white color. Now I'm going to go up to the rectangle selection tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. And if I go down here, I can enable rounded corners by clicking this checkbox. And I have a little slider here that I can use to set the size of the rounded corners. This selection right here is something that I'm going to use later on, so I want to save that. And so I can save the selection if I go up to the Select menu, and I'm going to say Save to Channel. And then you'll notice over here in the Channels dialog box, I have Selection Mask Copy. And so this is the selection that I just saved, and we'll be coming back to that later. I'm going to go to the Layers dialog box here now, and I'm going to click this little icon here, which will let me create a new layer. And this is a transparency fill layer type. And I'm going to say OK. And then with this selection right here, I want to fill this in with a black color. So these two little squares right here, this black and white square, this sets these to the default colors of black and white. So I have my black color here, and I'm going to go up and select the fill bucket, and I'm going to fill this in to be a black color. And next I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to create a new layer again, just like before. And now with this selection, I want to go up to the Select menu and select Feather. And what this allows me to do is feather the edges around this selection. So in other words, it's going to blur the image around the edge. And I want to use 100 pixels here. And the reason I've chosen 100 is because this button itself is about 100 pixels tall. It's a little over 100, but it's about 100 pixels tall. And so now you'll see that this selection has changed shape a little bit, and that's because of the feathering. And now I want to fill this in with a red color. And so I first click on this black right here, which is the foreground color, and I'm going to select a red and say OK. Then I'm going to go back over and make sure that I have the fill bucket selected. And I'll click in here, and now you'll notice that this is filled in with a red color, but around the edges it's feathered or blurred. But you'll notice that some of this red blurring has kind of bled over into the white background, and I want to get rid of that. So the way that I can do that is I want to first go back to the original selection that I had saved, and that's over here in the Channels dialog box. So I can just select this right here, and then press this little red button, and then that will enable the selection or bring back the selection that I previously saved. And then I want to go over to the Layers menu and make sure that I have this layer that has the red selected. And then I want to delete everything in the selected area, but currently what I have selected is this button area. So I need to go up to the Select menu and choose Invert. And now everything that's selected is outside of the button. So now I just simply hit the delete key on my keyboard, and that will delete everything outside of the button area. And I'm still going to be using this selection, so I want to go ahead and invert that again, because what I want selected now is the button itself. And next I'm going to go up to the ellipse select tool and select that, and now I'm going to press and hold both the shift key and the control key, and while I'm holding these keys I'm going to left click on the mouse, hold the left mouse button and drag this down to about right there, and then let up on the left mouse button. So what I just did is I took the area around the button that was just selected and I combined it with this new elliptical selection area, and wherever the two intersected, that's my new selection area. And you can see that by the marching ants, or this dotted line that goes around here. And I accomplished that by drawing this new elliptical selection while I was holding the shift and the control key. And the next thing I want to do is I want to shrink this new selection area down a little bit. So I'm going to go back up to the select menu, and I'm going to say shrink, and I want to shrink this by 3 pixels. And so you can see that it's now a little bit smaller than it used to be. And now I want to add a gradient to this new selection area. So I'm going to go over to the gradient tool, and I want to set the color to white for the foreground. And so I can just click this little double arrow button right here, and that'll turn the foreground to white because it just swapped the foreground and the background colors. And you need to make sure that the gradient is set to foreground to transparent. And you can check that by clicking on this, and you'll get a drop-down box, and just go down and make sure that foreground to transparent is the option that's selected. And then I'm going to come over here and create a new layer, and again I do this by pressing this little button down here. And then on this new layer I'm ready to draw the gradient, and so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to press and hold the left mouse button while I drag this down, and if I also press the control key, that'll make sure that I get a perfectly vertical line. Then I release the left mouse button, and now I have a white to transparent gradient that I just drew. I can go up here to select none. That'll turn the selection off. So now you can see that the button looks shiny and glossy. And so now we're going to add some text. So I'm going to go over here and select the text tool. And I'm going to type in GIMP. And I've got the font size set to 80. So I'm just going to position this. And then I'm going to change the color to yellow. So I do that by just clicking right here in this color section. And I just find a yellow on the color palette here. And that looks good. I can go ahead and close this text editor dialog box here. And then the final thing that I want to do is I want to put this shiny section that I just created, this white gradient, on top of the text. And so I just go over here to the layers dialog box, click on this layer right here. Then I can go down to this green button that points up, and that'll move this up one layer. And so now it's on top of the text. And then to get rid of this square box that's surrounding the text, I just need to change functions. So I can press the M on the keyboard, and that just changes the function to move. And I'm not really moving, but I just want to turn off that box that was around the text. And now I have my final shiny glossy looking button. Well, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment. And if you found this video useful, then please subscribe. Have a great day.